Wow. Okay. I'm going to talk about my TSO experience. Okay. Sorry if I spit a little bit, but I'm going to talk about my application experience. And I know there's a guy, Public Joe, Polo Joe. I think it's Polo Joe. Anyway, I've been talking to that guy. He did one on his experience for TSO, and I liked it a lot because, it just gave me a good idea of what to expect. And so, as great as his experience and his continued experience with his TSO journey, I just wanted to tell from a different perspective. Okay, so I don't know what he did before or what other jobs, but I'm going to tell you from a military experience. Okay, so I just on the 1st of April, I officially became a military retiree. I just retired with 20 years in the military. Last May, I applied for TSO. I applied for TSO last May just because a friend of mine who had just retired said it took him about a year to go through the process. So he was telling me, hey man, you might want to put in your application now because it's going to take a minute before you can get heard from. All right. So I was like, all right. So in May, I think it was like end of May or May 25th. Sometime I have to check my candidate dashboard. But around that time, I applied, and then maybe like a week later, I got set up for the computer-based test, and I pretty much got like a notice saying, where you wanted to take the test at. They had a bunch of different test times and test areas. I chose the one that was closest to my house, which was probably like 30 minutes away. I went in there. From what I can remember, I know you couldn't take anything in there, any electronics. You can only bring like a pen and paper, and then like the form that they email to you, and you gotta have a couple forms of ID just to let you know who you were. And then let's see, I took the test. The test had, I think the hardest. I think it was like reading, vocabulary. Only like basic tests that you would take when you join the military. The only thing that was different is that we had to do a what is that test called, man? The X-ray machine or X-ray test, right? And that one for me was pretty challenging because after a while, the items that you were trying to look for became blurry. Sorry, I'm driving, so. But the items became really blurry, or not blurry, but like it was kind of hard to see. And it's coming down hard. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. So I did the best I could on that test. And then after the test, which I didn't think I passed, like immediately, and everybody has the same experience. Immediately after I got out, I got an email saying that I passed. And pretty much you wait for further instructions for the next step in the TSO process. So I think the next step after that is I had to do like what was the next step? The next step I had to do, I think, a credit check. And there's you can look online of the qualifications they're looking for the credit check. which I was good on. And then I think after that, you wait for your airport assessment. So I think so I started like May 25th for the computer-based test, and I think maybe the 20th for my actual applications submission. And then in June, end of June, I got called for the assessment. Now, keep in mind, I have no idea what the assessment means. I don't even know what that entails. I don't know, what does that lead into? I didn't know. But I got a call. I was on vacation. I was actually in Tampa, and I applied for Tampa International. And the lady who called said, okay, we're here to set up your assessment. And at the same time, they sent me a, what is that thing called? They sent me the E86 form, or the SF86 form, which is your background check. And I couldn't fill it out completely because I was on vacation. I didn't have my passport. I didn't have certain documents that they needed. And but it gave you a time period of when you have to do it. Anyways, the lady that called me for the assessment, I was like, hey, I'm on vacation right now. Is there any way I can give you a call back? And she was like, yeah, sure. I'll just give me a call back in a couple weeks. Or call me back in a couple days or whatever. So I called her back, and she was like, yeah, we're trying to set up the assessment for you, and it's if you can come in in a week or so. And I was like, there's no way that I can come in, because I was on vacation. And I was like, I'm still in the military. Is that a problem? I've got 9 months left. And she was like, oh, whoa, yeah. You'll probably be getting hired pretty shortly, And I was like, really? Long story short, she was like, well, I'm going to hold off because you still got some time, and we'll just get you back. Now, I said, okay, cool. I had no idea that I was not going to get heard from or hear from them for another, that happened in June, July. I didn't hear from them till February. And between then, I had knee replacement surgery. I then had my recovery. Then I went on my terminal transition leave, and I was looking for work. And I tell you, nobody called. Nobody was calling. It was hard. And I was just looking for work. And I remember I called Tampa. I called the number that called me in July, and I asked the lady, I was like, hey, I'm just wondering if I'm still in the system, because nobody, I was applying for every TSO airport that was kind of close to where I would like to work. Seattle, I was living in North Carolina at the time, and nobody was calling me. And so I was like, man, what happened? But I was like, hey, am I still in the system? And she goes, yeah, you're still in, but there's no airport assessments for Florida right now. They kind of rarely come up, but I'll note that you're still interested, and hopefully they'll give you a call. So I felt kind of good that I was still in the system, but still, and I think that was actually, honestly, that was January. So come end of February, I think it was February 22nd, 2018, I got an email saying TPA, Tampa International, pretty much, airport, TSO position. And it was a little letter saying, hey, if you're interested still in this position, please give me a call back or email back saying you are. So that was the 22nd of February. And then I got contact, I think the 28th, for the scheduling of my airport assessment for Tampa. And then my assessment date was the 5th of March. It was either the 5th or the 12th that you got to choose from. I chose the 5th because I wanted to start this process. So the assessment, all that I can say for the assessment, it's an interview. That's it. It's just an interview. Just be confident, you know. They're going to ask you some serious questions, like my man Polo Joe said. They're just going to ask you questions, and you just got to respond and just stay calm and dress appropriately. I did. I will say some of the guys and some of the, not guys, but some of the people that I saw, I thought they could have dressed a little bit more appropriate. I don't want to say appropriate. I guess I said dress to impress, okay? You know, and maybe because some of those people I thought were a little bit young, don't know, but always dress to impress. You know, I myself don't like wearing a shirt and tie, but you know, if you're trying to, you know, get the job, you got to sell yourself a little bit. So it's only one day, so you go and you do an assessment, and then after the assessment, all I can say is for when I passed, they gave me a bag with medical supplies, and then they gave me a sheet and told me, okay, you need to call this number. Pretty much you're calling like the Human Resources, TSA, Human Resources Help Desk. You call that number. That lady or guy, whoever, is going to help schedule you with your physical exam. So what they do is the help desk will call a facility that is close by your address, whatever your home address is, and they're going to they'll let you choose what facilities are close to you, and then you decide, and they'll call them up, and you'll be on a 3-way call where the facility is going to set up the actual date and time for you to come. And then once it's set, then the help desk will confirm it, and then they'll end the 3-way call. They'll tell you a little bit more information of what you need to do, what you need to bring, and then that's that. At the same time, you should be, if you hadn't done already, is finished your SF-86, your background, and then you have to do another form, which I think is an OF-306. It'll be on your candidate dashboard to fill out. But all I would say is the faster, and that's how my mentality was, is the faster you get that done. I thought, man, this is the faster I can get a job. That one step closer to that next step. So once I finished, I did my physical, I set it up. The only thing that kind of sucked was the day I got done with the assessment and I left the airport, I called that number for the physical, and they set it up. So I was in Tampa, Florida. I drove from North Carolina to Tampa to do the assessment. So they set, my interview was on a Tuesday. They set my physical appointment on a Thursday. That was the soonest I could get it. So I kind of wish that I always felt like, man, if I was just in Tampa, I could have just did my physical then, you know, instead of having to rush back to my home address. So, but my family was still in North Carolina, so it didn't matter anyway. But I drove back, did the physical, and then they'll send your physical in. Your physicals consist of vision test for your military folks. So I did a vision, like what you do in your annual physicals or whatever. You got to do the hearing test. The same hearing test that you do every year in the military is what you do. You go sit in the booth, press that little button until you hear the beeps. Same old, same old. And then I did vision, hearing, and then I had a doctor come in and do a physical on me. I was kind of sweating my knee replacement because, you know, I am still considered young. I just turned 40 and I had a knee replacement. But other than that, I'm still in physically good good condition, especially after that knee replacement. So I'm still in good shape. But that was the only thing that I was kind of worried about. But the doctor came in, talked to me, did an exam on me, had me do a few exercises, which I had no issues with. And then said, okay, you look good. And then I had to do a drug test too. So I don't mess with no drugs anyway, so I wasn't sweating that. So you had to do a urine sample. And I think within a week, my medical passed, so I got a check mark on my candidate dashboard. And then my background check took a little longer. It took about 3 weeks. So I was kind of worried about that. But then my background passed, and once your background check passed, then you get put in the ready pool. So the ready pool, to explain to everybody, is the ready pool is pretty much you're done with all your evaluations, and I think you got that right. So, man, my background check passed on the 25th of March. Now I started my assessment on the 5th of March. Passed my assessment. My physical was on the 7th of March. It passed a week later, I think on the 14th, and then 11 days later, my background check passed from my physical date. And then I was placed in the ready pool. So now the ready pool, the way I can basically explain this, is that whatever airport you applied for, you can apply for 10 airports, all TSO, right? Whatever airport are hiring, they will give you a call. So I applied for 3 airports. My main airport that I really wanted to work at was Tampa, Florida. I applied for Raleigh Airport in North Carolina. I really just applied just because I was trying to get somebody to start well, 2 reasons. I was really just trying to get into the system, and I had no idea where we were going to go because we were still in limbo and undecided if we were going to move or we were going to stay. So since that happened, I just decided to apply for Raleigh Airport. So as soon as I got into the ready pool, 2 days later, I got a call from Raleigh Airport offering me a position for the airport. But by that time, I realized that we weren't going to stay, and so I declined it. I was a little skeptical about declining it because I didn't want it to look bad, but I talked to my boy Polo Joe, and he was like, look, it's not going to hurt you, and then I was upfront and honest with the agent that called me. I was like, hey, I have a change of plans. We're going to relocate. And she said, okay, that's fine. And on my candidate dashboard, it just showed that I declined the offer. But maybe a week or maybe almost a week and a half later, I was really hoping that Tampa was going to call. But actually, I was like, either if Seattle, because I did one for Seattle, and I know that's crazy, Seattle, Tampa, but we have family in both